Hey everybody, Matt Hartman here for Drunkard's Walk. Thanks so much for listening this week, and a big thank you to Jesse L.E. for our theme music and Nick Jaramillo for our artwork. Well, I want to thank everybody who has submitted topic suggestions for our upcoming Season 12. That's right, it's going to be coming soon because Season 11 is wrapping up. We're in, this is the penultimate episode. There will be one more after this, and then we will take a little break. But if you have not submitted your suggestions yet, get those in because we're going to start scheduling pretty soon. Not scheduling, we're going to start scheduling. Hey, it's a mistake, but it makes it feel authentic, doesn't it? You know that I'm not AI because AI wouldn't make that kind of mistake. So there you go. You know that this is legitimate. We hope you're enjoying the show and keep listening.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to Drunkard's Walk, the podcast. That's right. This is a podcast. Right now, did you know you're listening to a podcast? Well, and like most podcasts, it's not just my voice, but there's another voice that's going to be on. And it's none other than the voice that's on every week, Matthew J. Hartman. Matt, say hello to the people.
Jethro, hi everybody. Jethro, still, my middle initial is not J. We've gone over this a number of times.
But it's such a commanding middle initial.
Mm-hmm.
What is your actual middle name?
My middle name? Wait, are you trying to get into my bank account? Is this a clever ploy to find out what my middle initial is? C, so it's a C that's in there.
So is it Charles?
I'm not going to tell you.
You've told me it's C.
Yeah, well, you just have to guess. It could be there's a dozen different names that start with C.
Oh yeah, because Matthew's so creative. I'll never be able to crack the mysterious, enigmatic C middle name that you've been given by your.
Yeah, you don't know. You have no way of knowing for sure. But what I was going to say is I was listening to you kick off the podcast here, and every time we kick off the podcast, I don't know if you feel this way, but when I do it, I always feel like I am struggling to get the thing started. Like we need a way of actually kicking off these episodes, because every single time I feel like we're like kind of stumbling our way through the first couple of things that we say. Do you feel that way?
I mean, I feel like we're stumbling our way through the entirety of the whole thing.
Okay, perfect.
I feel like every episode we're just barely holding on.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. So I guess that's true. So that keeps us on brand. If we start off that way, then people expect it, and then they're not disappointed.
The last thing I would want to do
was that your stomach? What are you doing? What's happening over there?
That's my dog.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Hamilton has decided to make a cameo appearance. The last thing I would like to do at the top of the podcast is set too high of an expectation for what is to follow, because then we're never going to be able to live up to that. That's why, like, first dates, just shit the bed. Just do a terrible. Just set a really low expectation that you can supersede. And then everybody's
that's your
happy.
Advice?
Yeah.
Okay, so give me an example then. It doesn't have to be from one of your actual first dates way back when you were dating, but what would you recommend that people do if they're about to go on a first date? Here's the best way to do that. What would you recommend?
Okay, so first of all, like, the number of first dates that I had, pretty small, because I was not a prolific dater. I would say that, listen, so you can do one of two things in life. You can try to be somebody you're not, and hope that people don't figure out that you've been putting on this facade, or you can be who you are and engage with the small number of people who actually like the person you really are rather than the person you're pretending to be. Sure. And life is much better when you don't have to put on a facade. So I would say that sweatpants, a shirt with like a big blob of mustard on it, because if they'll accept you at your grungiest, ugliest, and worst, then it's all gravy from there on out.
Is that right? Okay, all right. Well,
I feel like just a lot of people, all right. You know who's not interested in putting in a good first impression? It's Hamilton, my dog, who's like, "Oh, you're recording audio. I'm going to go bark throughout the entire process."
Yeah, he'll just do whatever he needs to do. And if you don't accept him, the hell with you is essentially like that's what
I have begrudgingly fallen in love with Hamilton. He does not deserve it, but he's wormed his way into my heart.
Sure, I understand that. Oh, and heartworms are actually terrible for dogs. So
let's hope that... No, I know it's a bad situation.
Let's hope that doesn't happen. I understand what you're saying. I don't know that I would go the sweatpants and glob of mustard though, because I don't do a lot of sweatpants and glob of mustard even just in my regular life. So I feel like that would be faking it if I was doing that. But I do feel like
you've upset Hamilton now. You've upset Hamilton.
I'm sorry, Hamilton. It's true. It's just the way it is. But I agree with you. I think that you should absolutely do be yourself. And if the person isn't going to accept that, then what's the point? Why waste your time continuing to date that person? Right? That doesn't make any sense. So just enjoy it. I went on a number of first dates when I was searching for true love, and I will say that they ranged all over the place from fantastic to abysmal. And one of my favorite, I'm going to tell you one of my favorite first date stories. First of all, I have to make sure that you are familiar with NPR. Are you familiar with NPR, Jethro?
National Public Radio, yes.
National Public Radio, yeah, okay. So I was on this date with this girl, first date, and it was an early in the evening date. And I asked at one point why she wanted to go out a little earlier than you would normally do. And she said, "Oh, because American Idol is on tonight and I have to watch American Idol." Now, I'm not an American Idol fan, but at that point, American Idol was pretty new. I didn't really know much about it. But I didn't care.
Still a red flag.
But okay. Yeah, potentially. But I said, but look, there are plenty of people that are wonderful people that love American Idol, and I hold nothing against them. But I said, "Oh, I don't really watch that show. I'm not really very familiar with it." And she said, "Oh, well, how do you like that's all people talk about, isn't it? Like in the morning when you're listening to the radio, like how do you keep up on what they're talking about?" And I said, "Oh, well, generally speaking, in the morning, I don't really listen to that. You know, if I'm listening to the radio, I'm listening to NPR." And her response was, "What's NPR?" Okay, so that was my red flag right there. Is because I realized that and again, nothing wrong with people that don't listen to NPR, but if you don't know what NPR is, we are probably not going to be a compatible
not a good match.
Couple, right? It's not a good match, exactly. So this leads me into my second first date story, which is
how many of these do you have?
Just two. Later, I was on a date with another girl, and I started to tell this story, and I got to the point where, and I go, and she said, "What's NPR?" And this girl went, I don't know what that is. What is NPR?
Oh boy.
And I was like, "Oh no. Oh, okay. Well, here we go." But I knew very early.
It's a thing that dumb people don't know what it is.
I did explain it to, I don't remember which one I explained it to. I said it to one. I was like, "Oh, it's National Public Radio. It's public radio. It's like PBS, but it's radio." And the response was, "Oh, that sounds so boring." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, cool. So again, like we knew right then, we knew it's no need to explore this any further, right?
Yeah,
it worked out really well for us.
It's good. So I was at a sales conference all week for my job, and the head of sales was like, "Listen, if you're going to lose quickly, because otherwise you're sinking a lot of resources and time into a relationship that isn't going to go anywhere, and it's best to find those things out quickly." And again, if there's anything wrong with not following particular media outlets or whatever, but it just means you're not compatible.
Exactly. It just meant that it wasn't going to work out for us. But fail fast. Yeah, that's what they always say, fail fast. So there you go. Well, I am looking forward to a little bit of failure tonight, Jethro, in trying to reach a Wikipedia destination, starting where we ended last week, using only the links, walking through those pages, and trying to get to some unknown destination. I'm really looking forward to that tonight.
You've just given a concise description of what we do on this podcast.
Did I? Oh, I didn't even realize I was just talking, and I can't even hear myself.
You know who else gives really well put together information that can be easily consumed?
Who's that?
NPR.
They do. Easily digestible and informative, and hitting the right chords most of the time.
There you go.
I agree 100%. You know who else I've heard can do a very similar type of thing? Give information that is interesting and engaging and stuff that we really want to hear.
Who?
Michael Eppley.
Wow, our guest today, Michael Eppley.
That's right. Michael, how's it going?
Hi. It's going pretty well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks
So
for
first
joining
off,
us.
have we alienated you by outing you for not knowing what NPR is? Do you know what NPR is?
No, my parents pretty much anytime we were in the car when I was a kid had NPR on, so I am very familiar with it.
My mom did the same thing, and I was always like, ugh, adults are so boring. And then like as soon as I started driving to work, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll listen to NPR.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I listen to the classical music station now, so I haven't really stepped it up in terms of excitement.
I heard the most amazing factoid the other day that Taylor Swift outsells all classical music. And
Wait.
as a fan of classical music, I was mildly crestfallen that, and this is not a knock on Taylor Swift. I'm sure she's a fine musician and she deserves her popularity and fame, but like classical music, there's some good stuff there, and maybe it should be more widely consumed and not just everybody listening to the same one album.
So when you say all classical music, you don't mean she individually outsells every classical composer. You mean all of it aggregate sells less than just Taylor Swift sells.
Correct.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's striking.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Isn't it just?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know if I believe that, but I don't know. I mean, I guess I do. She's very well. She sells.
What
a
if
lot
I
of
told you I
albums.
heard that fact on NPR?
Oh, dang! That it's
I
true.
didn't.
It's
I
gotta be
didn't.
true.
I
Oh,
heard it
okay.
was
All right.
it was the Prof G podcast, but still,
Oh, all right. All right.
an amazing. And then he added jazz, and I was like, well, yeah, I already know jazz is not popular, but
Yeah. Well, nobody
basically,
buys jazz. People listen to jazz without buying it.
well, but I think the specific facts were like because they were talking about Spotify had its first profitable year or whatever, but
Hmm.
I think they were talking about like in the aggregate number of listening person hours
Oh,
Taylor Swift has exceed all of classical and jazz combined
wow.
with just Taylor Swift, which
All
seems
right.
like a I don't know. I'm torn because again, I'm not a Swiftie. I don't know her music that well. I'm
Yeah.
sure she's got some slappy bops, as the kids say,
They don't
but
say that, but
they always do. Um, And I wonder if the benefit to society of having a lot of people have an artist in common that they all appreciate
mhm.
is sort of a social glue in a way that used to be served by like religion. I wonder if that outweighs um the poverty of perspective that we have by all consuming the same media all the time rather than diverse sets of media.
Michael, your thoughts?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, I only listen to classical music, but I guess there's all sorts
Who
of
do you
composers.
who do you like classical music wise?
My
Who
favorite, I studied music in college, but I really like Baroque music. I
Okay.
just, especially Bach, just the way any line is interesting. There's not necessarily a melody and then a background. It's any line, the counterpoint is just insane. And they were actually playing one of the Brandenburg concertos as I was driving home from work today, and that made me very happy.
Wow.
It's very good stuff. I'm a big Tchaikovsky fan. I just am a sucker for the passion of that music, and
Mhm.
I'll listen to it every single time it's on.
We played when I was in high school. We had a steel drum band, and we played the oh gosh. Okay, I'm good. I'm not gonna butcher the pronunciation, but like that da 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 da. We played that on
The
steel
Nutcracker?
drum. Yeah,
Yeah.
from the Nutcracker, and it was a lot of fun and not something I thought about sounding good on steel drums, but it was
I
really
yeah,
fun.
I collected vinyl for a while,
Mm.
like, and not like super expensive stuff, but just I was into like comedy albums, and then when I was there, like this was like in the late '90s when
Mhm.
it wasn't resurgent in popularity or anything, but there was just always a like weird bargain bins at thrift stores and whatnot, and I ended up buying like Jesus Christ Superstar on steel drums. So there's this weird
Okay.
steel drum album that I have that is just like a random, like, well, it's 25 cents. I can't not buy it and hear whatever amazing stuff is on there. But yeah,
That's crazy.
I
always,
Matt, what's your favorite classical composer?
So I mean, well, my favorite composer is a tough one. I like. I mean,
John
I like
Williams. You're gonna say John
no.
Williams.
Well, I love John Williams, but John Williams I don't consider classical. I like Mozart. I like Wagner. I like Holst, but the planets are mainly what I like from Holst, because that's what everybody knows. I my favorite album growing up was I had one of those. It was like a collection, like a classical collection, and it was called Classical Music for Home Improvements, and it was all just super duper, like, power, like high energy stuff.
I have that on CD.
I love that album. I still have it, and I love it. It's one of my favorite.
Yeah, that's what introduced me to Dies Irae by, I think, Verdi. But yeah, super great stuff.
Yeah. So if you haven't heard it, check it out. It is a fantastic compilation of just some real slappy bops, as Jethro would like you to think the kids say these days. Well, Michael, tell us a little bit about you. We don't know you. We've not met you before. You didn't do improv with us. We didn't go to high school together. So tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from? What do you do? Obviously, you studied some music. Are you still doing music stuff?
Yeah, I'm actually in 2 different community bands.
Cool.
I live in the Chicago area, so yeah, I'm in a couple different community bands there. And it's just a lot of fun. I play saxophone, try to keep myself busy with that. So
sweet.
Yeah, the downside of playing saxophone, though, is that there's no music by any of these great classical composers that I really like for me to play.
Yes. I also play saxophone, or did.
Oh, cool.
I mean, I don't really keep up with it very much, but I still have my alto and my soprano sitting in a closet. But one of the things that made me really angry when I was a kid, we were in high school, and they did I forget what they called it, like a side concert or something along those lines, where members of our band got to go play with the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra.
Oh, wow.
But they did not allow the saxophones to go because there were no saxophones in the orchestration that they were using in the songs that they were playing. And I remember going to my band teacher and being like, this is totally unfair. Like, you should do something for us now. You should find a jazz quartet that we can go sit in on or something. Like, this is so ridiculous. And what's really funny, though, is my daughter now plays the violin. And every now and again, I will be somewhere in the house that's far enough away with a couple of doors closed that I swear to God it's a saxophone. Like, there is something about the timbre through the doors and through whatever that sounds like a saxophone which if I was looking at her play, I would never say that. And I would never think that. But every now and again, there's a note that she hits or something that she does where I'm like, God, it sounds like she's playing the sax. Like, that's very weird. It's a very weird thing. And I think that's why, I think that's one of the things that, like, I think the saxophone, when it is in some sort of like classical, when they're putting it together and orchestrating it that way, picks up a lot of the string stuff, right? Because you can kind of get a similar little type of sound out of there. But yeah, that's very cool. So how long have you been playing the sax?
I started in 5th grade. So yeah, probably, I guess, about 15 or so years at this point.
Awesome.
But yeah, studied it in college, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, just kind of the music for people of my skill level isn't a lucrative career option. So I'm not making my living in that, but it's just kind of fun to be in community bands from time. Rehearsal about once a week, playing concerts every so often. It's just fun to keep up with it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. Now,
that stuff that it atrophies really quickly if you stop doing it.
That is for sure. Which saxophone do you play predominantly? I'm assuming you play more than one, but
yeah, I primarily play alto. I played in college, though. I was in a saxophone quartet, and I've played each of the other baritone, tenor, and soprano.
Nice.
I kind of want to get another one, but I know I would not play it enough to justify how expensive they are.
I was very lucky in high school. Band was like my thing. And so I convinced my parents that I was so dedicated to it that getting a soprano saxophone for like a birthday gift at one point would be a great idea. So it was like a birthday and Christmas and whatever gift. But I did get that, and it gave me like a lot of opportunity. Like we had a saxophone quartet where we were, we had two altos for most of the time, but then I was like, hey guys, now guess what? And I bought one of those awesome stands where I could like put my alto down and pick up my soprano. And, I thought I was just like the coolest thing in the world as a senior in high school playing the soprano saxophone. But I always
Those
wanted
are the Kenny G years.
Yeah, well, I wanted one of the curved ones because there's an episode of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles where Harrison Ford shows up. And he has a little tiny curved soprano, and I was like, that's the one that I want. And it was like, they're not available. Those aren't real, and they don't sound good. Like, don't get that.
Ones are so much better.
Yeah, they are for sure. So I have an amazing, it's like a Selmer, it's a fantastic saxophone that just sits there collecting dust, hoping that someday I'm going to play it again. But we'll see. And I played Barry for a little while, but I never owned one. I have a mouthpiece. Yeah. That I would just, I would use the one that was at the school and things like that. Well, that's so cool. So you say you don't do that for a living. What do you do for a living?
I work as a lab analyst.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I also studied meteorology in college. So,
cool.
It's not exactly that, but putting that a little bit to that degree sciencey. I am applying for grad school though. So hopefully with any luck, I'll be able to get a job in that field.
That's great.
The next several years.
That's awesome. That sounds really good. Now, are you from the Chicago area, or did you move there after?
I'm not
because of college or anything.
I moved here about 3.5 years ago after I graduated college. But I'm actually originally I grew up in Western Pennsylvania. I grew up in Greenville. It's a small town, like about an hour and a half or so north of Pittsburgh.
Gotcha.
But yeah, gotcha. I've been to Pittsburgh many times.
Well, there you go. So now do you know Rick Seaback?
I do not.
Were you familiar with Rick? Oh no. Okay. All right. Well,
yeah, our major, I guess, like the NPR station my parents always listened to was based out of Youngstown.
Oh, sure. So, well, Rick was on PBS. He was on TV. Yeah, so you wouldn't have heard him on the radio anyway. But well, that's cool. That's awesome. All right. Well, Michael, let's get down to it. What do you got for us today as far as a destination is concerned?
Yeah, so this was I thought of this when I guess about the time I submitted the form was right after my family went to the Field Museum of Natural History here in Chicago.
Sure.
And I thought I remembered a fact about something, and it turned out it was true, so I figured I'd just submit it. But the topic, the Wikipedia page, is the Thagomizer.
Okay. You spell that for us?
Please. Yes. That is Thagomizer.
Is this from the Far Side cartoon?
Yes, it is.
I love it.
But yes, it is the 4 spikes at the end of the Stegosaurus's tail, and it got that name because there's a Far Side comic of like a caveman teacher pointing to it and saying, now this end is called the Thagomizer after the late Thag Simmons. And the scientific community didn't really have a name for it at the time that comic was published, so they just kind of slowly adopted it, and now Thagomizer is just the word used to describe it.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I have seen that comic, but I had no idea that it had actually been adopted as an actual like scientific term.
Yeah. It was something I thought I remembered, so I looked it up to see if it was true, and at least on Wikipedia it says it is, so
that is fantastic.
Then it is for sure.
Yeah, it must be.
That's amazing. That's such a cool thing. Gary Larson, man, he just given us more and more to think about all the time. Well, that is such a cool. And it does have a Wikipedia page.
Yes, it does. I am on the page right now.
That's good. That's a good thing. Yeah, very cool. And so and at the Field Museum, is it like labeled somehow or something like that?
No, it wasn't. I just seeing the skeletons or the fossils reminded me of it.
Got it. Did you read a lot of Far Side?
Yes, yeah, we had tons of Far Side and Calvin and Hobbes comic books that I read several times
You were
over as a kid.
you were raised right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, your folks knew what they were doing for sure.
Yeah, my daughter read all of my Far Sides and Calvin and Hobbes, and I was like, yes, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I had my daughter was reading Calvin and Hobbes stuff a couple of years ago. She's 8, and she was reading, and like I don't think that she really grasped what was going on, but she like I love that it's planted the seed so that she's going to come back to it and then understand it all later, because they're such great comics, amazing thing. Why is there nothing like that now? Where are the Gary Larsons and the Bill Wattersons today?
It hasn't gone away. It's still there. It still exists.
Yeah, I know.
What still exists?
Far Side.
Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh, Far Side does. Calvin and Hobbes doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, no, but they're printed. They're in book form.
Right. No, I'm saying, but where's the new stuff that's of that quality, of that that caliber?
Well, I mean, listen, the filter of time will pull out the nuggets of gold that exist in the culture, and unfortunately, we are mired in the present, where we have yet to have that filtration take place.
I see.
I will say though, there's amazing stuff out there. So there's a really cool series called A Cartoon History of the Universe.
Oh, sure, yeah. That's old too.
Yeah, well, it's about history, so yeah. But I bought that series. In fact, I bought that series with the intention of me reading it, but Maddie stole all the books and then she read them. My daughter Maddie. So I still haven't gotten through them, but there's good stuff out there. It doesn't matter if it wasn't printed yesterday.
I know it doesn't matter if it wasn't printed yesterday. I'm asking, why is there no stuff like that being printed? Like, look, I was reading Calvin and Hobbes when Calvin and Hobbes was being printed, right? When it was in the newspaper.
Okay.
So I'm asking, what is there today that is that quality? That's what I'm asking.
There's probably tons of stuff. It hasn't been made its way to your brain yet, because
I'm asking what it is, Jethro.
You are at the age where you have stopped learning about popular culture.
What?
Right?
No, nonsense.
Yeah, no.
That's nonsense.
Yeah.
Michael, you're still learning about popular culture.
Yeah, Michael, you're young.
What should we be paying attention to?
Oh, I have no idea.
He's
tried to stop learning about popular culture, apparently. All right, that's fine.
Listen, there's so much good stuff out there that's being made, and it would be supremely arrogant to assume that there aren't great artists working right now, just because you don't know their names.
You're absolutely right, Jethro.
Thank you. That's all I'm looking for. I'm absolutely right.
Okay. Oh my gosh, defeated already. Michael, this is a fantastic topic and suggestion here. I cannot wait to try to get there from Monongahela culture, which I don't know. They're both in the past, so that's maybe there's a path there. But this will be great. I can't wait to find this page too and read a little more about it, because what a great topic to read about. So
yeah,
thank you.
I had a lot of fun poking around to other popular Far Side cartoons that are
Cal Tool.
Yes. I thought about that one, but I figured that might just be a little bit too specific. It wouldn't be much fun to try to get to.
I don't know if you've read it, but there's a great book called The PREhistory of the Far Side, which is not just a collection of cartoons, but also like Gary Larson's reflections on his journey and the reaction to certain things and whatnot. And it's just jam packed with amazing details about his whole thing. Because there's also like an insect that's named the Garius larsoni or something after him. So like the scientific community very much embraced the Far Side because they felt like he's a nerd like us. So they definitely felt represented by what he was doing.
That's great. I had that book, but I had it when I was too young, where I was just going through and reading the comics and not reading any of the commentary. So I have to get it. I have to get a copy now and read it, because I'm sure I'd be fascinated by the actual stuff that's written in it. Because it's
really great. It's really great.
So cool. Well, Michael, again, thank you so much for this topic. Thank you so much for coming on and for listening to the show. We really appreciate that, for submitting a topic. Hopefully, you'll hear this when it comes out. Everybody else is hearing it in mid-March, so that's when you'll get to hear it too. Because we're gonna bid you farewell and head off on our journey. But thank you so much.
All right, yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me on, and good luck.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye.
All right, Matt. We've got some business to attend to.
Business? Ooh, business. The business. Mankind should have been my business.
All right, Mr. Scrooge.
No, actually, that's Marley's that says that.
Um.
Yes.
Yes. No, you're
What's the
right.
business? What's the
You're
business?
absolutely. We have to do our guessing, and then we have to talk about our beverages.
All right. Well, I'm going to do my guessing now, and I'll ask you first. What are you drinking over there?
I am having a little bit of Woodford Reserve. I've conquered dry January, and I'm now on to overcompensating for everything February.
Tsunami February. Yeah, that's great. Well, congratulations on that. Returning to a classic. I love to hear that. I, of course, am moving up forward in my my little sample bottles that I have here. And tonight I have a product of Ireland. Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, I do. That's right. I have.
What do you have there?
The Irishman, The Harvest. This is a 70% single malt, 30% single pot still spirit, matured in ex-bourbon casks to deliver a complex flavor profile, layered and inviting.
Right then.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's won a bunch of awards too, apparently. Let me give it a taste here. It says it has a strong cocoa and caramel flavor. Oh, it is. There is some sweetness to it for sure. Yeah, I guess. Well, now that I've been told that there's a cocoa flavor, I do taste cocoa, whether that's actually there or not. It also says there's a flavor of hay, which I'm not getting. Spicy. What is? Have you heard of RANCIO? Rancio? Do you know what that is?
I have not.
It looks to be like a bivalve of some kind, like a clam looking thing.
All right then.
I don't know what that is, but apparently that's in the flavor profile. And yeah. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Stuff.
I do like it. I'm gonna suggest that I get some more of that. I'm gonna write a note to myself right now.
You do that
here next to my guess. Buy more of that stuff.
So we've made our guesses. We've talked bevies. Let's dig in.
Let's do it. Let's get where we're going. So we are starting at the Monongahela culture, as I mentioned. They were an Iroquoian Native American culture manifestation of late woodland peoples from AD 1050 to 1635 in present-day Western Pennsylvania. So all of us have lived in this area.
It's interesting that they're using AD because I thought that most folks had shifted to BCE and CE, rather than before Christ and Anno Domini, year of our Lord.
Well, maybe they're going back. Maybe has there been an executive order to go back to AD?
Clearly, it's a way to return to our Christian roots and honor Jesus by forcing people to call things by different names.
That's a great idea.
Like Jesus would have done.
He loved
I tell you what,
doing that.
If I look at our current leadership and I think Jesus, I'm like, it's almost a total overlap between those two.
100%. 100%. Yeah. It's the first thing you think of. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would like to crucify him. So I guess that's probably the thing.
Yes, sir. There we go. Now we got it. Well,
all right. Now here's my concern with this whole page. Is this page is going to have a lot of references to human culture.
Mm-hmm.
But I will point out that Gary Larson, while a talented humorist and cartoonist, the classic mistake is the belief that human beings and dinosaurs coexisted on the planet, which in fact they did not, because dinosaurs went extinct. Or rather, there was an asteroid that hit the Earth about 65 million years ago, which forced dinosaurs to evolve into birds, and human beings didn't come along until 200,000-300,000 years ago. So no overlap of any kind. So the Thagomizer, as hilarious a concept as it sounds, it's just utterly implausible. So my concern is that this page will need to find something that has not to do with human existence.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Starting to look through here, and you're right. A lot of these things are obviously post when the dinosaurs would have been around, but I'm wondering if there's any kind of connection here to like museums or studying of the past that perhaps might get us into that path. And I do notice a link near the bottom in the C also to Prehistory of West Virginia.
And you like that.
It's a long time. It says prehistory of West Virginia spans ancient times until the arrival of the Europeans in the early 17th century. That means there's a long time there. Also, I don't know dinosaur-wise how many we find in West Virginia. Not many, I would guess.
Why would you guess not many?
Because my understanding is that most of the findings that we have, the type of rock that we have in this area and in West Virginia is not the type of rock that was particularly good for fossilization at that point in time. So that's why you hear a lot of about a lot of digs for dinosaur bones out west, because there was a as a wetter environment. There were you were essentially preserving the animals more. In
there's
those
a higher hit rate for fossilization. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Precisely.
That's fair.
Precisely.
That's
fair. So now I'm not saying there's none found in this area. I'm sure that there probably are.
Wasn't there like a tremendous fossil find in Pennsylvania that basically, so you've heard of the Cambrian explosion?
Yes, I have.
So wasn't there a fossil find in Pennsylvania that led to that, or am I mistaken?
No, I think that you're right. But I believe that's at a different time. I don't think that that's during the time of the dinosaurs.
No, that's fair. That's fair. All right. So I have found something that I think is worthy of another look, and that is infectious diseases. Because when you think about the history of life, and viruses and bacteria have been around even longer, and infectious diseases could span the entire history of life on the planet, which is a much broader net.
I agree with you that infectious disease has been around that long. My concern is that a page about infectious disease would probably discuss the ones that influence life that we are familiar with, and not so much life that was around before humans. It may, and so it is a possibility. But my concern is it's not gonna focus on the time period that we are trying to get ourselves into.
Yeah. But you think prehistory of West Virginia would?
Oh no, not necessarily. No. That may be a bad path as well. I'm trying to look down in the drop down. What do we call it? The purple boxes. And some of these
the
are
external links.
So yeah, it's under the external links section.
So you think it merits its own name? Let's just call them the boxes.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, the boxes. Because we certainly refer to them often enough that we should have a name for them.
Yeah, and I see a lot of references to archaeological periods and archaeology. But unfortunately,
zero good. Yeah,
archaeology is not paleontology, which is what we actually need.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing archaeological sites, human remains, miscellaneous stuff like metallurgy, and Norse colonization of North America. That gets us back further, but still not even close to where we need to be. Stickball is here as a link under miscellaneous in the pre-Columbian North America section. I'm not seeing a whole lot.
Mumbly Peg. They play that?
Is that here? Is that on there?
No, I'm making an old-timey games joke.
I like it. I like that. I like the mention of that. I'm not seeing a whole lot on here. There's a lot of Native American references and things like that. These boxes are not going to be particularly helpful for us. So you're suggesting infectious diseases. I was suggesting prehistory. I mean, we could go into something like, if we're going to go into infectious diseases, you could go into drought as well. You could go into Little Ice Age. Now, I understand the Little Ice Age did not happen at that time, but Little Ice Age may have references to other ice ages. And so we could get back further into the history of the planet that way, potentially.
Yeah, the Little Ice Age, 1400 to 1800-ish.
Yeah. Not at all
utterly
unhealthy.
Yeah. I mean, if what you want is to get back further, infectious diseases is going to be a very deep and wide topic. I mean, we're talking about single cell life forms.
Yeah.
Precursors to the dinosaurs.
I understand what you're talking about. I just don't. My concern is that it's not going to get us back that far.
All right. What do you think is a better link that you want to click on?
I mean, we might want to go into the prehistory link.
I feel like that is prehistory is yeah, it's going to be more human centric, and talk about human
infectious
cultures.
diseases, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
all right.
look,
all right. Jethro, let's give it a go. Let's give it a try. I think it's going to take us to some other page. It looks like it's going to take us to infection, perhaps, but let's do it. Let's give it a try.
All right, here we go. I appreciate your immediate capitulation. An infection is the invasion of tissues by pathogens, their multiplication, and the reaction of a host tissues to the infectious agent and the toxins they produce.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. There's a sweet, sweet picture of an adorable malaria sporocyte migrating through the mosquito midgut epithelial cell. So
that's beautiful.
Fun. But we've got causes: bacterial, viral, parasitic, fungal, and prion. So many great things here.
Oh my God. I don't believe you've lucked out yet again, you son of a gun.
How have I lucked out?
Well, there is a section on this page called Fossil Record.
Oh, look at that.
And under fossil record, there is talks of fossil remains. There's paleopathologists. And then there are actual dinosaur species
Get the hell out of here
on this page.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true.
Documented evidence of infection include the Acrocanthosaurus, the Allosaurus, the Tyrannosaurus, and the Tyrannosaur from the Kirtland Formation. All right, cool. So feels like these are all very strong possibilities. Do you have a favorite? So I would say the Acrocanthosaurus. Let's throw that out right now because I've never heard of that before, and feels like it's more of a niche dinosaur.
Yeah, I'm trying to. So the issue here is that dinosaurs roamed the earth for an extremely long period of time.
Yes.
Right? Millions of years, hundreds of millions of years, I believe.
Yeah.
Or maybe, no, maybe millions. Well, anyway, the point of the story is at least tens of millions. Different dinosaurs are around at different times, right? And a lot of times they will put all of these dinosaurs together in the same thing, like in Jurassic Park or whatever. They were not around at the same time. And I'm trying to remember when the Stegosaurus was actually around. Because the Allosaurus, as I'm mousing over, is from the Jurassic period, whereas the Acrocanthosaurus and I believe the Tyrannosaurus as well were both the Cretaceous period.
Well, everybody knows that, Matt.
Okay. Well, but what I'm saying is I don't remember when the Stegosaurus was around. It was the Cretaceous, I think, but I always get when Triceratops and Stegosaurus were on Earth. One of them was around at the same time as the Tyrannosaurus, and one of them was not. And I mix up which one is which. It might have been the Stegosaurus. So we could, and you know what we could do? I think we should go to Tyrannosaurus. And here's why. Even if we're wrong about it being around at the same time as the Stegosaurus, the Tyrannosaurus is so popular in popular culture stuff that we're going to see links to it, and it is going to be next to popular culture references to the Stegosaurus.
I feel that is a solid bit of logic there. Like like when you think of dinosaurs, like Tyrannosaurus Rex is what you think of.
The T-Rex, yeah. Yep.
So I have zero arguments with that thinking, and I think we should just click on it and move forward.
Then let's go. Tyrannosaurus is where we are headed.
All right. Tyrannosaurus is a genus of a large theropod dinosaur. The species Tyrannosaurus rex, meaning king in Latin, often shortened to T-Rex or colloquially T-Rex, is one of the best representative theropods.
Did you know that I took a dinosaur class in college?
Did you?
An entire semester on dinosaurs. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff about like the way that they're talking about here the theropod, and I believe that's it has something to do with the way that the I'm doing a great job of describing this. The way that the midsection, like the hips, what do you call that? Where
pelvis?
like the legs, like the pelvis, the pelvis, the pelvis area is different on theropods versus the other type. And when you look at the bones, you can see the structure, and you compare them to birds, and you can see the things that are matched up. And it was a fascinating class that I took 20 years ago, so I don't remember all of, but I really enjoyed. It was a hell of a good class.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, there's a picture here of a T-Rex specimen that is from the Carnegie Museum of Natural History.
There you go. Well, there's famously the Pittsburgh airport has the T-Rex skeleton duplicate there.
That's right. Very, very, very true. Very, very true. Yeah. Well, and a lot of the, let's put out there something right now that the bones, quote unquote, that you see in like those things, folks, they aren't bones. They're rocks. They're fossils. Fossils are rock that have replaced the bone, right? So it is rock. It is not actual bone that you're looking at. Don't think that people are lying to you because these aren't real bones. They are fossils of the bones. So that is what it is. It's bone that has become rock. So
wow, there are children weeping everywhere tonight listening to this episode because their understanding of museums has now been crushed.
It's good for them to know. I've seen people claim that scientists are lying to us because there are no actual bones. And it's not true. I also have seen people who are like, well, if there were so many dinosaurs, how come we're not tripping over bones all over the place? And I want to kick them.
You know what those people don't do?
What do they do? Not to.
They don't listen to NPR.
They do not listen to NPR. You're absolutely right.
That's why they talk like this.
They've never even tried. See, there's no dinosaurs.
They're all 20s gangsters there.
Yeah, see?
That's why they want to bring back prohibition. All right.
Remember,
this
Jethro,
is a very long page.
Remember the Tyrannosaurus like toys that we had when we were kids where they like stood upright?
Yeah.
Remember that? And then the tail would like go on the ground and it was like standing upright. That's not the way that they walked around and stuff like that, which the skeletons now that they have, the specimens that they have are in the right position. And of course, like Jurassic Park, by that point, they were showing it that way. But I remember back in the day, man, they looked like Godzilla walking around.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yep, but not anymore.
All right. So you know what I'm not seeing on here?
What are you not seeing?
The Thagomizer or even the Stegosaurus.
Okay. Well, maybe not yet, but I'll bet you that our boxes at the bottom have a pretty good path into the Stegosaurus.
Oh,
I haven't gone down there yet. I haven't looked, but I'm guessing. Now, the Stegosaurus is a different type of dinosaur, obviously. It's a very different structured dinosaur. It is probably one of the other types of the names that I've forgotten because 20 years. But like it is different, like because it walks on 4 instead of just 2 legs and things along those lines.
Okay, yeah. There's so many dinosaurs in the boxes at the bottom. And fortunately, they have pictures.
Oh, good.
So we could theoretically, and I'm really like just now I'm realizing just how many dinosaurs exist that I don't know anything about, had never heard of previously.
Oh yeah, there are a lot. There are a ton. And in fact, did you know, I remember when I was growing up, I thought that the pterodactyl was a flying dinosaur, and that's not true. Pterodactyls are not dinosaurs.
What are they?
Something else. They're their own thing, man.
Man, you're crushing all of my previously cherished beliefs about dinosaurs.
I know. I have a friend that I know from Comedy Sports who works at the Children's Museum in Indianapolis, and he is like a dinosaur expert essentially. And when my daughter was quite young, but old enough to understand dinosaurs, it was during the pandemic actually, when my wife was doing some like homeschooling for her. We called him up, and he did like a whole like little talk to my daughter about dinosaurs and what's the truth about dinosaurs and a lot of things that we hear that aren't true and things which she had never heard any of it, so she didn't know the difference. But it was great. Yeah. It was really fun. So his name is Mookie. That's my friend's name, by the way.
That's an awesome name. All right. So there is a link under the cultural significance section to Tyrannosaurus in popular culture.
Okay.
Which I feel like could get us into media properties that also feature a Stegosaurus.
Well, you can get there faster because there's actually a link to Jurassic Park on this page.
Is there?
There is. Now, I also see a link to Triceratops, which means the Triceratops was the one that was around at the same time as Tyrannosaurus Rex, not the Stegosaurus. So it's probably why we're not seeing any references to Stegosaurus on this page.
Okay. So is there another dinosaur that we feel would be more likely to be co-time? What?
Co-time?
Co-time. Yeah, co-time. With the Stegosaurus?
I don't know for sure because they were either around in the Jurassic period or the Triassic period. And since I don't know which one it is, and also I don't know I know the Allosaurus was around during the Jurassic period because we moused over that previously. But I don't know when other dinosaurs were around, to be honest with you. Like the Triceratops and the T-Rex being around during the Cretaceous period. Those were the two that I actually kind of knew. And I'd already forgotten, obviously, the Tyrannosaurus or the Triceratops. So, we could hope it's Jurassic and go to Allosaurus, I suppose. There's nothing in the boxes at the bottom.
There's a lot of stuff, but it's very specific. First of all, it's very strange because when you open them all up, there's a lot of dinosaur names that have question marks after them. Like they're like I don't know, Gabosaurus, and I don't know why there are question marks.
Gabosaurus? What?
It does not fill one with convenience. So confidence. So there's also so many names that don't mean anything to me. Like I've never seen them before. I'm not seeing a Stegosaurus. I'm not seeing a picture of a Stegosaurus. But yeah, there are a lot of different phylum and genuses and species that are listed here, and I just don't. None of it is giving me any kind of confidence. Like it's certainly possible that some of these are related, but I just don't have any information based on anything to dig into anything.
No, I see what you mean. I have opened up those boxes, and they all seem somewhat related to the Tyrannosaurus, which the Stegosaurus is not really at all. So, one of the options that we can go through though is there is a link to Dinosauria, which takes you to dinosaurs, and we could just go to dinosaurs in general and hope to find it through there, because the dinosaur page may actually have a link to the Thagomizer. Potentially.
Possibly, yeah.
So that might be the way to go.
I mean, all right, I'm down to go to dinosaur. Like it feels.
Oh wait,
feels
wait,
like,
wait.
Who? How? When? Why?
Wait. Okay. So Kingdom Phylum Class Clade, which I don't know what Clade is. CLADE. Clade?
I'd always said clade, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. I've never heard clade before. So the first clade that they have listed before Dinosauria is Avametatarsalia. And that, if you mouse over it, has a picture of a Stegosaurus skeleton.
Where is this that you're looking?
So in the purple boxes, if you under Theropoda, there is a second line that says like it has the clades just listed, and it says Avametatarsalia, and you mouse over it, and there it is. There's the Stegosaurus.
All right, so you want to click on Avametatarsalia.
That's what I'm suggesting because there's a picture. I mean, we can go to Dinosauria.
All right,
because it takes us to all dinosaurs, but
you know what? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's go to So this is in the purple boxes under theropods, the clade Avametatarsalia, which has a picture of many things: a penguin, a brontosaurus. Although I guess there aren't brontosaurus anymore. They've decommissioned.
Actually, the brontosaurus is back.
Is it now?
Yeah, the Brontosaurus and the Apatosaurus are actually, they've determined two separate things. So they brought the name Brontosaurus back.
Okay. And then between the Brontosaurus and the penguin is a picture of a skeleton of a Stegosaurus. Is that what you're saying?
There's also pterosaurs on here, which are the pterodactyls. So there you go.
All right. So let's go to the Avametatarsalia.
Okay, let's do it.
Here we go. All right. And there is a link here to all right.
A link to all right. Perfect. I see dinosaurs for sure.
Yeah. So I'm not seeing a that's actually not a Stegosaurus.
It's a Kentrosaur or Kentrosaurus. Right.
So there we go. So that's not good.
Interesting. From the late Jurassic, though. So there you go.
All right. Well, that means a whole lot to all of us.
Oh boy. Well, it sure looked like a Stegosaurus. I mean, you thought it looked like a Stegosaurus. I thought it looked like a Stegosaurus.
Listen, I'm a couple of Woodford Reserves into the evening, so I don't think my judgment is super great at this point.
Holy cow! This is a short page.
All right. So there is. All right, so I'm playing the Matt Hartman game here. So about halfway, a little more than halfway down the page, there is a breakdown of various dinosaurs, and there is a link to under Dinosauria to the Ornithischia, and the picture that is there looks very similar to a Stegosaurus. In fact, when you hover over that image, it says wikipedia.org file Stegosaurus stuff.png. So if we click on Ornithischia, I feel like that's the clade that is going to get us to the Stegosaurus. Would be my pitch. What do you got?
I mean, I noticed the same thing. I'm looking quickly here to just make sure that Thagomiser's not on this page anywhere. It doesn't seem to be, but I wanted to check to make sure we didn't just, run right past it while we're looking for Stegosaurus. Stegosaurus is. I don't see it. So I think what you're suggesting is going to be the path that we're going to need to take. I wonder if because this other dinosaur that's on here, the Kentrosaurus, I wonder if the spikes on the back of the Kentrosaurus are also considered a Thagomiser by the people that study this type of thing, or if not, because they also have spikes on their tail.
It is a fair question. I am looking at the purple boxes, and there is
see anything there.
So that what? But there is a link to the Ornithischia.
Yes.
And I was hoping that there might be a link directly to Stegosaurus, but I have yet to see.
I did not see one. I did not see one.
All right. So,
all right. So Ornithischia seems to be the path that we want to take. I thought you said it when you moused over it had something about Stegosauruses.
So when you mouse over the image that is to the right of Ornithischia, it has the file name that is listed there is Stegosaurus.
I see.
So
I see.
That leads me to believe that the Stegosaurus falls under Ornithischia.
All right.
I would say that, it looks like there's a skeleton one, but that's what got us here.
Yeah, exactly.
And clearly, there's more than like 5 dinosaurs. So
apparently that's the case. All right. So Ornithischia it is. Let's go.
There we go. And the good news is I do see a link to Stegosaurus.
That is good.
Indeed. But we should check this page because who knows? The Thagomiser could be linked here directly.
It could very well be.
I mean, think about the sheer volume of dinosaurs listed in Wikipedia. Because if you put a gun to my head and ask me to name dinosaurs, which why would you do that? But if you did, I'd probably peter out around like 5. Like T-Rex, Stegosaur, Brontosaurus, Allosaurus, Pterodactyl which apparently you'd shoot me because that's not a dinosaur.
Not a dinosaur.
But like I'm out. I can't name anymore. But there were so many more, and they lived for so many millions of years. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, hundreds of millions of years. I was right about the hundreds of millions. I saw on another thing. So yeah. So yeah, I see Stegosauria. I don't see anything. I don't see anything else that makes too much sense to go to, though there is a description of the different pelvis types of dinosaurs. If you notice, there's a little image, and that's exactly what I was talking about previously.
Love a dinosaur. Ooh! Oh, those are lower jaws and teeth. I saw an image that looked like I thought it was going to be tails, including the Thagomizer, but these are in fact lower jaws and teeth.
No tails for you.
No tails for me.
You were telling tales out of school.
There we go.
Don't understand what that means, but I mean, I do understand what it means. I don't understand the origin of that particular thing. Okay, there's a dinosaur portal that we could go to, which sounds like a neat thing if it existed in real life. But I think that our Stegosauria is going to be the thing that we're going to want to go to, because the purple boxes are just a bunch of different types of dinosaurs.
It's so true. All right.
A bunch of taxa.
Stegosaur. Where's a link to Stegosauria? What do we got here?
There were a couple that I flew past earlier. Now I have to find them again. There's one in the image of the breakdown of the different.
So there's a link specifically to Stegosaurus.
Oh,
rather than Stegosauria.
Oh, okay.
So if you look at the pictures at the top, underneath that there is a specific link to Stegosaurus itself, which is what I would argue, because I can see a Thagomizer right there. So
that's where we should go. Let's go.
All right.
Let's go there.
Stegosaurus it is. All right. And here we go. History and naming. Ooh, there's a section on here. History and naming. And I'm looking through that.
Stegosaurus, just to be clear. Stegosaurus.
I expect that there's going to be something on here. Second dinosaur rush, resurgent discoveries. So many wonderful things. I feel like it should be right there. We're so close.
Yeah, I went down to description, and I was expecting it to be under description, and it's not. Unfortunately, which is odd.
They're under paleo. So if you look on the left hand breakdown of the article, there's a section called paleobiology, and there's a whole section called Thagomizer tail spikes.
Yes, there is,
and there is a link to the Thagomizer.
The main article. Yep. All right, let's do it. Go. Let's get over there, man.
And we're there. We did it, Matt. We have done it.
The Thagomizer. I got to read a little bit about this. The arrangement of spikes originally had no distinct name. Cartoonist Gary Larson invented the name Thagomizer in 1982 as a joke in his comic strip The Far Side, and it was gradually adopted as an informal term, sometimes used within scientific circles, research, and education. And then there's a picture. There's a picture of the little comic.
There you go.
Awesome. I love it.
Awesome sauce. We did it. I can't believe it.
That we found it. Well, there we go. So Jethro, why don't you tell us, how did you do on your guess in there, my man?
So we have had a few weeks wherein we underestimated ourselves by predicting too high a number. So I corrected for that, and I guessed 4 for this week. But sadly, I should have had less confidence in us.
Well, Jethro, I had just as much confidence as you did, because I also guessed 4. And so it is a tie, but we did, it did take us 6 for those that are keeping track. So it's a tie, which means we wind up with the score still 7-5. But Jethro, if you win next week, you will tie for the season.
Oh my gosh. There's so much on the line.
And if I win next week, I will rout you, as they say.
And next week is our last episode of the season.
Right. That's right. It is our last episode of the season, episode 15. We're going to bring on a couple of special guests who many of you are familiar with. I don't want to say who right now, but I think a lot of you have already probably figured it out just by what I have said. So,
is it Santa Claus?
No, it's two people.
Is it Santa and Mrs. Claus?
Yes, it's Santa and Mrs. Claus. It's Santa Anna with Mrs. Claus.
There we go.
Well, this has been great, Jethro. What a fantastic topic suggestion we got there with the Thagomizer. I had totally forgotten this term. I remember the comic, but I had totally forgotten about it. I'm excited.
Yeah, and when Michael first said it, I thought he was saying something very different.
So did I. I heard something very different. I'm glad we had him spell it.
Yeah.
Say it again, because I heard the wrong thing. So there we go. I'm glad that it wasn't that. What I heard. Anyway, I'm not sure what you heard, but I'm glad it wasn't what I heard.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll do this one more time next week, and then that'll be it for season 11.
Sounds grand.
How about that? Yeah. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. See you next week.